Sometimes a founder's journey is the result of a deep expertise in an industry. The founder has a clear founder market and founder product fit and are brilliantly prepared to solve that problem. Other times, a founder's startup journey is the result of a life event. They are called to step into their entrepreneurial journey without any founder market or founder product fit, and I'm waving right here for that. Our guest was recovering from a difficult time in her life when she had her first cup of tea, and it was love at first sip. You will be inspired by her startup story and will love hearing how she built her tea empire to extraordinary heights, delighting customers one sip at a time. Stay tuned for the Startup Life Show. Let's glow, everyone. Hello and welcome to the Startup Life Show. I'm your host, Ande Lyons, 4 times founder and startup champion to founders around the world. And after raising 4 businesses of my own, boy, do I have a deep appreciation of what you're crawling through every single day. 1 minute you're popping the champagne, the next minute you're crying into it. And oftentimes you're sleeping like a baby, right? Waking up every few hours crying. It's an extraordinary journey and it's the best personal development program out there. And I am in awe and wonder of you getting up every day in spite of the challenges and doing this. Okay. I just want you to take a moment, give yourself a big hug and a big a girl, a guy for getting up. All right. And pushing forward in spite of some days there being no evidence of why you should be moving forward. And viewers and listeners, I'm deeply grateful that you carved out time to tune in and up your founder game because there's no training for this, right? You can take a course, you can talk to other founders, but until you are in that seat for that business, there's no prep for this. So every time you get to tune in and hear a show like this and hear these conversations, you are upping your founder game. And as you do better, your startup will do better. If you're tuning in from YouTube, oh my gosh, smash that like button and subscribe. Well, yeah, it'll really help us reach more founders. Thank you so much. And for you podcast listeners, please share the audio and like, subscribe, review, do all the good things. Again, it really helps us reach more founders. And again, you get the benefit of getting an alert whenever a new show is posted. But hey, if you want to get a deep dive into the founder that I've chatted with here on the Startup Life Show, join the Startup Life Meetup group. This way, you'll get all the links you need to listen from your favorite podcast sites, or you're right here on YouTube where the video is archived. So links are in the show note, or scan that QR code. If you are a woman-owned business here in the U.S. and you focus on B2B, you need the Women's Business Owner Certificate, and the best one out there is WeBank. But boy, if you hop onto that website and you look at that application, many of you will run away. It's so hard. But there's money you're leaving on the table by not getting certified as a woman-owned business. In fact, there's government contracts out there and corporate contracts that want to do business with you, but they need to see that WeBank certificate. So please reach out to me if you're struggling with the application, Ande at andelyons.com, and I will help you with it. I've helped dozens of women get across the finish line for this certificate, whether they were just starting out and had no revenue or they were at 80 million a year. We can make this work for you. So please reach out. All right. I'm so excited to introduce you to our remarkable guest, a phenomenal and oh so fab female founder, the one and only Tonia Jahshan. She's the founder of Sipology, a multi-million-dollar direct sales company selling wellness drinks and accessories. Tonia founded Sipology after suffering a miscarriage and traveling to Nova Scotia for a pause. While there, she had her first cup of Earl Grey de la Crème tea, and for the first time in weeks, she felt better and things felt better. She started Sipology in 2007 to share the healing power of tea with the world. And in 2012, Tonia pitched the business on Dragon's Den, that's the Canadian Shark Tank, and accepted an offer from Jim Treliving, and David Chilton, skyrocketing the business to new heights. So we're going to hear all about that. Today, Sipology does millions in annual sales and has tens of thousands of consultants selling its product, and the company has been recognized as one of Profit 500 Canada's fastest growing companies. And Tonya was named Canada's #1 female entrepreneur. Oh my gosh, let's just go get the tea from Tonya. Welcome to the show, Tonya. Woo!
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me, Andy. Oh my gosh. I loved your intro. I was like on the edge of my seat going, I'm that founder who doesn't sleep at night, who pops in pain and also cries into it.
It is. What a journey, right? And did you have any super founder product fit when you launched your business?
Did I have a super founder product?
A super founder product fit. You know, founders are always asking, what's your founder market fit, or what's your founder product fit? And so that means you were already in the tea industry, right? You had done consumer packaged goods, and you had, had a deep dive into all parts of your business. Yes or no, Tonya?
That would be a no. That would be a no. I did not. I kind of fell into this sort of by accident, like a lot of founders do. It was just simply an idea, a light bulb moment that went off in my head, and I was like, "All right, this is what we're gonna do." I was in Nova Scotia, like you said. My husband and I had just suffered a miscarriage, and those are things that women don't really talk about very often, and you kind of feel alone in it. And we thought, well, let's just go away and start over and get away from everything that had just happened. So that was when they served us in the first bed and breakfast, this amazing loose leaf tea called Cream of Earl Grey. And I can still remember the smell of it, the taste of it, and everything about it made me so happy. And it instantly made me feel better. It took my mind off everything that was happening. And I said to my husband, I first said to the owner, I'm like, where did you get this tea from? Like, I need to take home some of this tea. And he said, I got it in a little shop about 40 minutes away. And it wasn't on our itinerary. Like, Adam and I were not supposed to go there. But I said, Adam, I said, we need to switch things around so we can go there, get this tea and bring it home. And I remember this was loose leaf tea. And like a loose leaf tea 20 years ago was not something that people even talked about, especially in the US. Like the US weren't even talking about tea bags. Like I'm a Canadian, and I was, we always had like Lipton or Tetley tea with a splash of milk. And that was what I considered, great tea, until I discovered loose leaf tea. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is like not even in the same ballpark.
I know. 20 years ago, we were all about dark roast, right? We're all about Starbucks and going into our coffee deeply.
Absolutely.
And tea, what? That's for all those Birkenstock shoe wearers.
Exactly. So we went to this tea shop, brought a whole bunch of it home, started sharing it with my friends and family. And that's when like everyone started really loving it. And I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. I think I might just start doing little tea events for my friends and family to get the awareness of how great loose leaf tea tasted versus tea bags, which I now call hot dog tea. Because you just never know what you're going to get in that tea bag.
Right, you don't. And it's the Lipton tea, or when you're at the diner and you get the tea bag and you get the hot water and you're like, how dead is this tea?
Oh, and sometimes you don't even get hot water. You get lukewarm water. It's even worse.
So you started on this journey of becoming a tea aficionado.
Yeah, by accident. Like I said, I wasn't, I didn't set out to do this. It was just sort of, it fell into my lap, into my brain, I guess. Everything happens for a reason. If I hadn't had that miscarriage, I would never have gone out to Nova Scotia, would never have discovered the tea, and we wouldn't be talking right now. So I really, truly believe in destiny and everything happening for a reason. But
you said yes. So a lot of times people are invited by destiny, fate, or a higher source, and they go, no, I'm too scared. No, I don't know enough. No, I'm not. I don't have enough information. I couldn't possibly. But you
Yeah.
said yes, and you started to dive in deep. When was that turning point? Because had you had entrepreneurs in your life, or were you hustling product in third grade? Like, had you had any thoughts of like, oh, I've always wanted to have my own business?
I absolutely 100%. When I was, oh my gosh, when I was 9, I remember starting, I was that girl out in the front selling the lemonade on the lemonade stand. I remember doing the garage, like the book sales. I had a paper route. I've always been interested in selling, and I didn't even realize it until, thinking back to all of my little entrepreneurial experiences when I was young, because I don't see kids as much doing that.
No.
Well, maybe not the way I did it, but I'm sure they're doing it in other ways. But and then of course my stepfather was an entrepreneur. Like he had his own business from the time I was, from the time I met him, which was at the age of 12. And that is actually the reason why. So long story short, yes, he's the one that offered me an opportunity when I was 30, because I was a preschool teacher prior to this.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, all through my years as a teacher, I was always selling something, and it was for I was always selling something for a direct sales company, which is what we'll talk about that in a bit. But he at 30 said, I'm retiring from my business, and I would love you to take it over. And I was like, absolutely. And I was selling tools and electrical equipment, so very male dominated industry. And I did exceptionally well.
So wait a minute, you went from preschool to selling tools?
Yeah, electrical equipment. Yeah, all across Ontario here. And then in the meantime, I'd married Haddam, and he owned 3 Subway franchises. So
Okay,
that's
so
kind of,
yes, yeah. So and you
Yeah.
hadn't watched a train wreck happen, so you were not. Yeah, of course. That's how I felt with my kids. I thought, oh my God, they'll never want to do their own business ever. But they do side hustles all the time.
Yeah.
And seeing that and seeing somebody, it's representation, right? And then your own desire to want to express. And I love that you keep talking about sales, because most founders, this is the hardest element about their job, right?
100%. 100%. The sale is the hardest part of the job. And that brings me to a really great story about this startup. When I started this company, and I decided that I was going to make this not just a hobby, but I was going to quit my dad's business, which I did. I sold his business, and he gave me his blessing, because I really wanted to pursue things with Sipology. Year 4, my husband sat down with me, and he said, you're doing so well. Like you can sell, like that is hands down not a problem for you. He goes, and that is the hardest part for any entrepreneur. He's like, he owns 3 Subway franchises, but he wasn't a salesperson. He was more of an operations finance guy. He's like, you have proven to me that you can sell, which is like the first step in any, business is selling the product that you have. He goes, but you suck at finances. So, we're like, $80,000 in debt because of your business, and that's not good. So we're going to have to shut this down. And I was like, no. What can I do to prove that this will work? And he said, well, if you can sell 500,000 by this time next year. So that was the average average sales that we would do at a Subway franchise.
Yeah.
He goes, I will sell off all the Subways, and I will join you as full-time CEO of the company, and we'll build this together. I honestly think he was like, will she do it? Can she do it? Because
but I think he said more than just sell 500,000. He knows that you could meet that, but how was he looking at the fact that by scaling up, he knew the margins would be better and make it more profitable and sustainable?
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
And what were you at the time in sales?
At the time, 250.
So you're going to have to double, but at
Double.
250, that level of volume. And folks, when you are dealing with product, it's all about volume,
Oh my
because
gosh,
as soon as you get the volume up, you are going to get the margins down, which means you're keeping more in your pocket. You can invest more in marketing and customer acquisition, all of the good things. But I'm thinking, Sonia, that you were doing a great job with that 250,000 in sales, but you might have been spending too much on getting those sales in the door, etc. What did
Oh
you
my
have?
gosh, yeah.
What did you have to learn about? Okay, I'm gonna, because I know you. I can tell already. You're a woman who says, "Oh yeah, that's a challenge."
Yeah.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
Exactly. Don't threaten me with a good time is exactly what I thought. I'm like, no, we're gonna do this because uh I had a lot of I had about 50 consultants at the time. And that sounds like, and at first, thinking back then that was a lot, but now I have like 10,000.
Oh, and put a pause on that for just a second. You chose to bring your product to market in what specific way? How did you reach folks? Because you started off with the tea parties.
Yeah.
Then you said, okay, this is something I really want to get into. And so you came up, you did your branding, your marketing, et cetera, to bring the product fully to market where others could sell. What methodology did you choose?
Well, I knew from the moment that I was going to scale this business that it was going to be a direct selling company, because
Yeah.
I was familiar with direct sales. I had all the events, Pampered Chef, Party Light, Tupperware. I did all of the events, and then it became a rep for a couple of them.
Yeah.
And I loved the opportunity that it gave me to pay for my college tuitions, my books, and it gave me that freedom to just kind of run a little business by myself. And so when it came to what are we going to do, bricks and mortar, or are we going to do a direct selling company? I was like 100% direct sales, because I had 3 brick and mortars, 3 Subway franchises, and I knew how much it cost. Rent and staffing and all of that is like, and you just don't have the same amount of reach.
Oh no.
Right?
And so did you find someone who could provide the tea and put it into bags and put it in that you felt really comfortable? So manufacturing, how did that, did you buy your own
From
manufacturing facility?
the beginning.
No
From the
kidding.
beginning.
No
Yes.
co-man, no co-packer.
No, absolutely not. No, oh my gosh, this is so fun to just talk about again, because it brings me back to those days. My house became a tea factory. My garage was my shipping department. I at the very beginning, I knew from the very beginning I did not want a co-packer. I did not want another person's brand. So I came up with the name Steep Tea, was my original name. Hired a graphic designer to make a logo for me, and I had stickers printed out. I had like the brown paper bags. I would, put the stickers on the bags, hand write them. At the beginning, that was about a year, that I would handwrite all the names of the tea. Right. I was also blending a lot of the teas. Like it's insane when I think about probably the regulations that I must have broke.
Oh,
at the beginning.
Here, certainly in Massachusetts, I mean, you do better to rob a bank than do anything in your home and then sell it for consumer consumption.
Oh gosh, honestly, I can't even. For the first 4 years, my business ran out of my house.
Yeah.
And I was doing upwards of 500,000 a year. Can you imagine all of the UPS and the FedEx trucks that were going down my
and the neighbors were like, what's going on? She moving? What kind of product is she really moving?
Well, we did have the city of Hamilton come and have a knock on our door at one point because they thought we were peddling drugs.
Yeah.
And they came, inspected, and you're right, I had machinery down there. I'm serious. I had a full-fledged manufacturing facility in my basement.
I love that. That's so inspirational. I know there are plenty of founders out there who understand this completely. And have the heat sealers and everything, and
the whole shebang. And then we when Haddam came on board, because of course I met my goal. That was the first thing we did. We moved into our very first space, and then that was.
And so seriously, so you are an owner of the assets required to manufacture and produce all this product.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, let me get out the hold on, everybody. I got to have an Andelicious moment here. Just give me a second. That is so huge.
Yeah, we are the manufacturer, the shipper, the marketer, the whole thing. Like everything that's in our catalog, other than the hardware, is proprietary to us. All the
Oh
blends.
my God. And folks,
Yeah.
I'm going to bring up a few images here. For those listening, I'm sharing some beautiful images
Mhm.
from Sipology and some of the packaging that they have today, et cetera. We'll get to talking more about that. But that is a big undertaking. So
Very big.
often I'm always recommending co-pack, co-manufacturers, but you were like, nope, I want quality control. That's very important to me.
Yeah.
This is tea. This is well-being. I need to watch every step of the way and be in charge. Wow. So let's
Yeah.
talk about how you are doing direct sales.
Yes.
So is it similar to what we would call here in the US network marketing?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. 100%. Yep.
Well, thank you for being a woman leading the charge on that because so many network marketing companies are usually guys, right?
I know. It's crazy to me. I don't understand. It's a very female dominated industry, but the founders are mostly men. Like
And
that,
and when we have Mary Kay is the best
right?
representation, right?
I know.
And
I
what she
know.
did is just like what you said in your heart. You knew that this could be someone who's trying to get through college. This is someone who's staying home
Mhm.
with the kids, but wants to be inspired and
Yep.
feel like she's contributing and keep her brain going and make some money and,
Yeah.
maybe build her own little umbrella. And I think it's one of the best ways because you are motivating others who are also inspired and who want to take it out. And frankly, if anybody's in network marketing, then the people who win are those who were former teachers.
Yes.
That's
100%.
common thread. I love that. So you
Yeah.
were in alignment with who you be. And
Yep.
so I see it all coming together so that, so now you've met the goal, 500,000, you got the whole space in place. And now you're
Yep.
really starting to scale. Meanwhile,
Yes.
you are birthing babies, right?
Oh, yeah,
And
that's right. That's right. I was having babies too at the time. Yeah. Yeah. So by year 5, when Haddam joined the company, I had 2 children under the age of 4. So yeah, Layla would have been 4 and Jenna was 2. And then I was pregnant in year 5 with my son. And he was like, whoops, what happened there? But total blessing, obviously.
of
And
course. And
but that was the year that I decided that I really wanted to scale big. I was like, you know what? We need to break into the US market.
yeah.
And I remember saying that to Adam. I'm like, okay, yeah, I think it's time that we break into the US market. And he's like, oh, slow down. We have just enough capital to support a Canadian growth, and we're still growing in Canada. He goes, we're not going into the US. And I was like, not what I wanted to hear.
And had you ever raised capital before or had you self-funded the whole time?
Self-funded the entire thing.
God. So now listeners and viewers, you can see, here's Tonya. Her brain is going, okay, what's your husband's name?
Haddam, like
Haddam.
Adam.
Okay, Haddam. Yep. Yeah. Okay. Brakes.
Yeah.
Slow down. Nope. I'm going to go find the money. So how did your brain start working around that? And how did it lead to Dragon Den?
God. So I was like, I remember thinking, damn, that is just not good. So I was thinking, well, so I was thinking, okay, I'm going to start working on a pitch to pitch angel investors and things like that, and banks and whoever I could get.
And you'd never raised capital before?
No, I got a $5,000 loan from the BDC in Canada, and that was about it. So anyway, so I was on Facebook one day and I was just scrolling through Facebook and I saw that Dragon's Den was coming to my city for auditions. And my husband and I have always been huge fans of Dragon's Den. In fact, watched it since it started. Mr. Wonderful is like one of the original Dragon's Den founders. And I love the show, but I was like thinking, I will never go on this show because they will just eat everybody, right? They just pick you apart and they're so mean. But I don't know what it was. When I saw that they were going to be in my city, it was almost like, again, that light bulb moment. I went off in my head. I'm like, this could be our opportunity. this could be how I get into the US. So I sat down with Adam that night. I'm like, hey, listen, Dragon's Den is coming to our city for auditions. We should go. And he was like, oh, are you kidding me? We're not going on Dragon's Den. He goes, have you watched that show? He's like, Mr. Wonderful is going to call me a cockroach and send me off on off stage. And I was like, no, I really think that this could be our ticket.
And you were pregnant?
I was pregnant. I was like 6 months pregnant with Sammy.
Oh my gosh. And I bring that up, Tonya, because don't mess with a woman who's pregnant and is feeling it. Okay. Like I'm supposed to do something. No, just step out of the way, people.
Yeah, totally. And I convinced them. I said, okay, well, listen, we have to get through the process first. Like it's getting on the show is not like, get on the show.
Oh, Tonya, right? I've seen the lines here in Boston when Shark Tank is there. And I mean, the stories of people getting in there with phenomenal and then just being, nope, next, nope, next, nope, next.
No,
how did you get to be chosen? That's so huge.
Oh my gosh. It was huge. I have to say all the stars were aligned. I was pregnant. I was pregnant, you know.
Listeners, Tonya just went with her hands pregnant, you know, out to here pregnant.
Yeah, out to here. We had 1.3 million in sales at the time.
Yeah, good traction, good
with no debt at all. We had a great product. I think more than anything, they really liked Adam and I as a couple. And you'll see if you watch the show Dragon's Den, our episode, you'll see that the dragons instantly were drawn to him and I. Yeah. And that's important because when you're partnering with somebody, you want to partner with someone that you get along with and that are solid people, right?
Oh, I'm a huge fan, and listeners know this, that they got to be in love with you.
Yes.
It is a key ingredient, folks, because this is a marriage with your investors. 100%. So they've got to be like enamored with you, your ability, in alignment with you and your ability. And folks, I will have the links to the video of Tonya and Adam on Dragon's Den because it is phenomenal. And she is out to here pregnant. And you're sitting there going, that's just so remarkable in and of itself. So how did you prep? Because once you were chosen, and can we just talk a little bit about when you learned you were chosen to be on the show?
Yeah, it was such a great moment. I remember them saying to me before we left, the producers, because you don't see the dragons, it's the producers you are going in front of. And they said to us, you know, we'll get in touch with you in about 4 weeks to let you know if you're going to be on the show or not. No, they said in 4 weeks, if you receive a call from us, then you're on the show. If you don't receive a call at all, then you've not made it. So they don't call people and say you didn't make it, right? But she said to me, she goes, but if you get a call earlier, like a couple of weeks, she goes, that means we really like you and you're definitely on the show. Well, guess who got the call in 2 weeks?
Oh.
And I remember I was outside our first warehouse and I saw the producers of Dragon's Den calling through and I was like, oh my God, Adam, we're calling.
I have goosebumps.
It was like, it was honestly like, it took my breath away.
I'm amazed your water didn't break.
I know my water did not break. That was it. It was game on. And Adam and I were like, okay, we cannot screw this up. Like we have got to get our shit together, practice. And we did. And
Tonya, now that's a lot of pressure for co-founders. You two are beloveds, okay?
Yeah.
How did you manage that level of pressure that you both were under?
Oh, wow.
As a couple for something like that.
Yeah, he felt a lot of pressure. I will be totally honest with you. I did not feel a lot of pressure at all. There was just something in my soul and in my gut that told me that it was going to go really well because he and I make such a great team. Like we are the yin to the yang. I am like the energy that, you know, you bring the energy and the passion to the company. And he is like solid numbers and operations. And I just with all the prep work that we were putting into this and even the set, we put in a lot of work into the set. So it looked beautiful. So it didn't look like anyone else's set. I just knew it was going to go really well. I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
He was scared.
When you watch the video, folks, and you know, they come in from the side there and they walk out, they do their pitch, they take the questions. And when you were done, what kind of fight? Was there a shark fight or a dragon fight? What do you call it?
Between them?
Yeah. Or to get you to say yes. Is that, is it the same way as it is here in the US?
Oh yeah. So again, what you see on television is like 5 minutes of an hour at least conversation, right? They cut it up and make it. And what's even crazier is that you don't get to see their edited version until everyone else does. So you're watching it live with no clue of how they edited it. So they could edit it however they wanted. But oh yeah, I remember Mr. Wonderful and Dave were always bickering and fighting over, us.
And going in, did you and Adam have an idea of who you would want?
Interestingly, yes. We thought like Adam was actually leaning towards Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful. And because Kevin's such a numbers guy and operations and sort of like, I don't know, that he just had this connection with him. And I was leaning towards Arlene Dickinson.
Wow.
And but it ended up neither of them were the ones that we chose because I think one of the things that did make me nervous about going on the show, to be quite honest, and now I think about it, is that I really was afraid that they weren't going to understand direct sales.
Yeah.
That they were going to, because, direct sales, there's a couple of companies out there who've given it a bad name.
Yep. They sure have.
Right. And so I was so fearful that what if that was their perception?
Yeah.
But it turned out that it wasn't. David Chilton almost invested in a company that was very similar to Pampered Chef. And so he knew all about Pampered Chef, loved the concept. Jim Treliving was a Amway rep way back in the day.
Oh my gosh, the two of them.
Yeah. So they understood. And as soon as they understood, I was like, you're perfect for us, because
and that's what the live is so great about. You're in front of them and you can see in their eyes, their heart shining through.
Yeah.
With their love of what you're doing, their understanding, their passion behind it. I'm a huge fan of The Voice. So, someone goes in with an idea, right? With which coach they want, but then the coaches turn around and they start pitching them and they're like, they went with someone completely different because that's it. They see that in their eyes and their passion for what they're doing, their deeper understanding too of who and what they're trying to achieve. Oh my gosh. But I know from plenty of founders that I've interviewed that you can have a deal, right? When you leave, but then you sit down with the attorneys at the table and a lot of deals tank. And I know there's, and of course there's non-disclosure agreements. You can only talk about so much of the deal. You made it past that stage and they invested.
Yeah. So less than 5% of the deals you see on these shows go through. And it's because there's a few reasons why they don't go through. One, the lawyers get involved. The due diligence part starts right away. And once they start digging into your numbers and your culture and you as people, they either go, this is for me, or this isn't for me. Two, oftentimes it's not even the sharks or the dragons that pull out. It's the people that pull out because they figure, I got all this exposure. Yeah. I don't need the dragons. I don't need the sharks. But what, and I knew going in that was never going to be the way I felt. Right. I was determined I was going in there. I was going to get a deal. I was going to get this signed. And we did get it signed very fast. We were actually one of the fastest closure of a deal in Dragon's Den's history.
Hello.
They were they were incredibly worried that Adam and I were not going to sign with them. So they were pressuring us to sign with them before our episode aired because they didn't want to fall into that into that
bucket where everybody goes, hey, I got a better deal. Someone just reached out. They're going to take better terms with me. Oh,
right.
Nice.
But what my vision was, because I figured if we get them as partners, I wanted them as partners for, it wasn't about the money, because $250,000 for 20% of our company is peanuts. It's like one order of product. It was about their connections. It was about their advice, their fame, everything. I could use them forever and
it was
ever.
their social capital as well as their financial capital.
Exactly. And you know what? It was the best decision because we were on that show 3 more times.
What do you mean you were?
Yeah. So if you Google, we were on 2 updates. So we've had 2 updates in the past 10 years. So our
I
original
love the updates.
2 updates, and we were in a Dragon's Den commercial because we were one of the most, at that time, that was year 7, we were one of the most, if not the most successful pitch that had ever been in Dragon's Den. And they used our pitch as a sample in their boardrooms of this is the perfect pitch. So
Come
like, it was
on.
yeah, it was pretty incredible.
I can't believe I'm talking to the woman who, partnered with her wonderful, beloved Hadam husband. And you guys are the pitch they point to. Wow. Okay, everybody, we're going to, you have to watch. You have to click on that link and watch that pitch because you can add a lot of value to your own pitch from watching Tonya and Sipology's pitch on the Dragon's Den episode. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's all about the details, people. All about the details. Yeah.
This is so fascinating. So now you've got these 2 wonderful aligned investors who are sharing their social capital with you, their brain capital, right? Their knowledge, as well as their money, which you knew would just, be something just to help leverage. It was the other assets that they were bringing that were so valuable. How did you get that money so that you could start expanding into the US and also expanding more products? Because folks, come on, look at these beautiful accessories here and different ways. Like here's, some green, super greens boost. And listeners, I'm sharing products here on the screen that they do, respiratory leaf tea. And then we've got the iced tea versions and probably different flavors there. You start to really go long. And because you're direct sales, everybody, you've looked at those brochures, your people need to have more products to move and delight customers with. Talk about how that, and the baby was born, right?
Oh my gosh, right. The baby was born literally a month before we aired. So that was pretty crazy. I was like really postpartum, everything. But it was such an exhilarating time in my life, like being on the show. And then of course, once the show aired, things just blew up at Sipology, and to the point where it almost sunk us. I'll be honest, like the growth was so extreme that we were, because of course it aired in September, right before like Christmas season. And we were literally driving around to bus stops asking people if they needed a job. Do you need a part-time job? Because we could not get people in fast enough to fill the tea.
So wait, what was this? September 2012?
Yeah.
10, 11 years ago almost. Wow.
Yeah, it was intense. So it was a really exciting time, but I remember it being very difficult too, because my focus was not on my family at the time. It was on this growth.
Yeah. And I understand that. And to the parents out there, when you have young ones, it's, in my opinion, and this is just an opinion because I've raised babies and businesses at the same time. So I understand what Tonya is going through, and especially, scaling a product business. What's great about the age is that they know you're there, but you can have really good help. If you can afford it and you can bring someone in, especially in my case, I always like to bring in the young and fun nannies and babysitters, right? That would do great adventuring with them. They would much prefer to be with that person who tumbled down the hill with them than me.
Right.
Who's parenting them. And get muddy and do all the things I would never do. And so it's kind of an easier time. Once they're teens, you really have to, and tweens, you have to keep your eyeball on them because they can easily mask what's going on. But these early days, it really, I think, Tonya, is an ideal time for you to be launching and having that level of focus. And of course, with both parents on board like that, I know it can be even more challenging. Did you have extended family helping out, or?
Oh my gosh, we've been so blessed. Touch wood. My mom and my dad are 20 minutes from me. Hadam's parents are 20 minutes from me. brothers,
Yeah.
sisters, cousins.
Everybody was able to chip in and
Yeah.
have the touch points with the kids because, folks, if you do get, and find yourself leaving the family, they're always going to be there for you. You can't forget them, but you can bring in people who will love them
Yeah.
equally as well. And so as long as you're able to stay on top of that, it can really work. And you brought up such a good point, which is when you have these opportunities to scale founders, and
Mhm.
sometimes you're just not prepared. You may get a big box store order and you're like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I thought I was prepared, but I didn't know what prepared really looked like.
Yeah.
You do your best and it can tank. You can get hit with so much growth that all of a sudden you're not able to deliver and you lose the trust of those folks who are counting on you. How did you get through that? I mean, I know you're at the bus stop. Hey, can you come help? Here's some cash. We'll
Oh,
pay
you
you
know what?
whatever.
We just, Adam and I just rolled up our sleeves and we got in
Yeah.
there. We had it under control. We were able to hire enough people to get us through
Yeah.
it. And I mean, the energy was so high that Adam and I were working day and night and we didn't even care because it was just so exciting, right?
It's so exhilarating.
Yeah.
And I
But
think you had the systems and procedures in
oh
place. I
gosh,
mean, had
yes,
them. Hello.
yes,
And because of your distribution channel being direct retail,
hmm
you were doing the communications with your consultants, right?
yeah,
The folks who were then, building out. And so you could find and identify the leaders in those groups who you could hand off the growth to, right? For their areas.
yeah. It was
Yeah.
all about communication. It's
Yeah.
always about communication. If we were behind on shipping and it was delayed more than what we wanted, we always were very good at communicating that out to our field and to our customers. And
Yeah.
in general, most people understand that, especially when they know that you're going through such a huge growth. And I mean, that's, I think, the key to every situation like that is just make sure you communicate with your customers and your employees of what's happening and how we're going to get through this and huddle and
Yeah.
do all the things, right?
Be transparent and bring them into the excitement, folks. Bring
Yeah,
them into the strategy. They feel like they're owners in the delivering. They get excited and caught up too in how is this going to happen and work out? And oh my gosh, we're all in it to win it. And what I really love, let's sort of wrap up the fact that you made it into the U.S.
yes, we did. Yes, that we opened up the US a year after. And
Excellent.
one of the best things that Jim and Dave ever that did for us was it wasn't about it was about the US. Obviously, we wanted to get in there, but what happened was we were using a middleman for our accessories. So, we didn't have our own factory in
So you mean
China.
like these really groovy
Yeah, well, those are
teaspoons
ours
here?
now. Those are
Yeah.
ours. But before, we had someone else ordering those for us. But
Yeah.
that was one of the things that Jim did, where he's like, here's my factory. Start making your products. Oh my gosh, that brought our costs down, like, I mean,
Immediately. Oh yeah.
immediately, right? So, and
That
then, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's wonderful. And I just wanted to let folks know that you did get into the US and now you have a
Yes,
strong US presence
we do. Yes, yes. We're
in
in
case
every
anybody wants
single
to
state.
sign up and get going.
Absolutely. There's so much opportunity in the US. It's crazy. And we have such a great product that people are like, they want. It's a
Yeah.
health and wellness line, right?
Right. And the beauty of what you do with direct sales and
Yeah,
direct retail is that you give that person ownership. You give
yeah,
them ownership and the ability, you give them the product and the sales materials and everything, but they get to build their mini business without the risk. And,
exactly.
and they bring their love and their passion and their own individual purpose to why they are doing it. You have your why as the founder, but now you've got these little satellite whys for all variety of reasons. But I would think for you personally, on a whole nother level, that you're giving folks an opportunity to earn money the way they can do it with their life circumstances.
Oh my gosh. This is my sole reason for doing this business. When I first started the company, it was because I wanted to get the awareness of how great loose leaf tea tasted. it quickly changed once we started bringing on consultants. We call them Sipologists now. It quickly became about the opportunity that this company could give to women and men. And I have seen this company change so many people's lives. We have people who are making six figures in this company who never dreamed that they could ever make that kind of money. We have an incredible community. Our community, we were awarded the best community in Canada by Ernst & Young 2 years ago. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yes, thank you. It was a special citation award that Ernst & Young recognized us for, and they nailed it because we have such a strong community of people. And but more than
go ahead. And more than
that, though, it's that opportunity that that these women and men have to make as much income as they want or as little income as they want. But mostly they come in here because of the community.
Yeah,
they do.
And boy, that is the sweetest spot of any company ever. This is why folks do crowdfunding. It's the community and folks that are involved. And if you can build community, you can build a business, period, end of story. And I invite everyone to hop on to not just Sipology's Instagram feed, but Tonya's Instagram feed. She's on there doing live IGs all the time. The energy, the support, the love comes pouring out every day from you, Tonya. It's so exciting. And I think that also makes everybody feel good that they're with a reputable company that provides great product, but behind it all is a woman with so much heart and commitment and conviction for their success. That's just a beautiful thing. And I'm just so happy for you as a founder to be able to deliver it that way.
Thank you.
And so, the other question I have is, you've been at this since 2007, and I hear this so often on the Startup Life show, Tonya. Oh, Ande, I wish I were further along, or I should be. Founders shoulding on themselves. I should be further along. Here you are. It's been almost 11 years since you were on Dragon's Den, let alone all the years since you launched in 2007, all the learnings you've had, all the visions and all the babies. Can you talk a little bit about that mythology about how we should all be further along with our businesses?
Yeah. So we didn't start making a profit until year 5. And it was a very small profit. For the first 5 years, I was not contributing a dime to our household. In fact, I quit a pretty good paying, job, my dad's business, to do this. So cutting our income in half. But it wasn't until at least year 5, year 6 that I could even contribute anything to this household. And here's the thing about business. Business goes up and it goes down and it goes up and it goes down. It is never a straight line to the top, ever, ever, ever. It is always, you're always going to be hit with some sort of roadblock. And then you're going to get a win, and then you're going to hit another roadblock, and then you're going to get a win. It's just exactly what you said at the beginning. You're popping the champagne because you got that big win, and it's like, woo, everything's exciting. And then 6 months later, it's like you're crying. You're like, oh my God, this has happened. Because that is business. And that is what you need to know, is that you're in for a ride, and some people can handle it and some people can't. But always know the storm always passes.
Right.
It's how you handle the storm. It's how you innovate and get out of the storm, right? That you're going to hit the success again. But another storm is brewing. It's brewing. You're going to be hit with another one, and then you're going to get through that one too.
Oh my gosh, everyone, is that a stitch that on a pillow moment or what? No pun intended. The storm is brewing. But it's true. The businesses go up, the businesses go down, and it's how you handle the down when you get hit with roadblocks. How do you innovate?
Strategies are important at that point, right? That's when you start strategizing and start innovating and everything, right?
Right. No, and also it gives you an opportunity to go dig deeper into your own capability, because you have to pull it out. And the best way to do that, and this is so important, listeners, that you take this in, is that you don't take it personally. No. It's not something you did wrong. It
Yeah.
is being in business. And
Yeah.
so if you can step out and be curious and look at it as the science experiment that it is, get your teacher hat on, you can say, okay, well, what solution would work? Let's try a few. Oop, that's not going to work. Quickly pivot. Let's try another solution. Ooh, that's close. Boom. You're going to get there if you stay curious, right, Tonya?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh my
I have
gosh.
learned, oh my God, I've gone through so many learning, situations in this business that sometimes I go back and make the same mistake and I'm like, oh my God, you did it again. Why did you do that? And then finally you go, okay, yeah, not doing that again. So, right. But it's, yeah, like and another thing you said was so true. It is like the best personal development course out there.
You're never going to, there's no other way to test yourself than doing a business, I'm telling you. And I am so proud of all the accomplishments that you have had. I'm celebrating you. And I love that you were also named Canada's #1 female entrepreneur.
Yes.
How did that feel? Talk a little bit about that.
God, that was such a surreal moment. Oh my gosh. I'm actually doing a post on Monday exactly about that. So I didn't even know. I didn't even know it was happening. I remember the Chatelaine, it was a Profit 500 magazine shoot came to our warehouse and they told me that they were doing like a spotlight on a bunch of different businesses that were doing so well in Canada that year. No clue that I was going to be the #1 entrepreneur of the year. And I remember I was at work and I was sitting at my desk and all of a sudden my phone just starts buzzing. And I'm like, what is going on? And I was like, oh my God, I was on like the front cover of this magazine and in this massive spread of a story on me of all the pictures they took of me in the warehouse. I was stunned. I was so humbled.
Oh,
And it takes a village. Like it
yes.
wasn't my award. It was the Sipologist's award. It was the head office staff's award. It was just validation that everything that we've been doing was making a difference.
Yes.
So it was great.
Oh, I just getting out the clappers. Where are my pom-poms? I need them all for this moment because that is all that hard work, years, everybody. Okay, years of effort. And all of a sudden, they came by and took photos, and then boom, your phone blows up because you were the #1. Wow, I'm actually like kind of over that myself, just how much that must have felt and how great that had to feel. Congratulations. And I know that success has looked differently over the years. So it's 15 years of this incredible ride. What was success like, in year 5 versus where it is today?
Oh gosh, year 5 was, obviously reasons. Success was when Haddam joined, right? And I had that yin to my yang. I had that partner, and that's important. I tell a lot of people, you have to find that person in your life, whether it be your partner or somebody that you trust that makes up the strengths or the weaknesses.
It compliments you. Absolutely.
Compliments you, right? But I would say now, like I was so naive back then, and I've learned so much over the last couple years, or last, I'd say 5-6 years of how to manage my stress, my anxiety, because running a company is not easy. Like it is stressful, and I talk a lot about that, women's mental health, and especially in founders that are women and women-led businesses. So versus then to today, I'm a much wiser person. I'm a much more aware person. My mission is still the same, obviously, to empower women in this company and men to have their own business, but it's also to empower women and men to take care of their mental health. Like
it's key, everyone. That anxiety piles up. And if you don't take some downtime and if you don't learn how to manage it, whether it's breathing or exercise or whatever, and tell everybody, what do you do? I mean, when those days where you're feeling imposter syndrome, and I know you've got your darling man there who can help lift you up, of course, or you can help lift him up during the tough days. But when you're feeling inadequate as a founder, and I know that that's part of the journey, as you were saying. Founders think, oh, well, now that I know everything, I'm fine. No,
Mm,
you don't. You're always being challenged and questioned. And even if it's yourself,
mhm.
what mindset hacks and physical hacks have worked for you to manage that anxiety and those moments of doubt?
Yeah. Oh gosh. You know what? I surround myself with a great group of women
Mm.
who are also founders that, we all support each other in this arena, because it can, like you said, it can get really lonely,
Yeah.
being in this arena. And, whenever we're feeling that way, we motivate and lift each other up. And I also have to remember, and you really just said it a few minutes ago, you can't take things personally in this business. People are not, there's going to be people who don't like you. There's going to be people who don't agree with the things that you've done. And you have got to let it go.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's not easy to hear criticism, but what I've learned over the years is that I just have to let it go, and I just have to focus on the good things that are happening in my company, and ignore the negative, because
Right.
that's what will kill you, is if you just keep focusing on the negative, right?
That's right. And women, we tend to be people pleasers, right? And so
Oh
it can be even
gosh.
harder
Mm.
to
Yeah.
break that habit. But once
Yeah.
you figure that out, and people say it toughen up the skin, it really is a mindset hack. It's not that
Yeah.
you're toughening up your skin, so to speak. It's because you certainly care about some of the feedback, but you don't hold it and
Yes.
internalize it. You put it in a separate bucket over there, and that's the feedback. But I'm going to focus over here
Yeah.
on what is working.
100%. Physically, I'm a huge advocate of exercise. I exercise every single day. I do a lot of strength training. I do, I walk and I do cardio, but I'm really into strength training. And of course, I'm very committed to the health and wellness lifestyle that Sipology offers. I make sure I have all my vitamins, that I'm up on my D, my Bs, my multivitamins, my greens, everything, my tea, my matcha. Though all those things contribute to a healthy mindset and healthy,
Yes, they
you know,
do. They
yeah,
absolutely do, because you are what you eat and drink.
exactly.
And
Yeah.
you want to make sure it's healthy and it's feeding you, not taking away
Mhm,
from you. Oh
mhm.
my gosh, this has just been such a I was going to say friggin' awesome conversation with you, Tonya. I mean, you have shared so much great information. Any last thoughts for folks before I pop you into the green room?
You know what? I think just, if I can give any advice to any founder, is just be patient, right? Be patient with your business. Be patient with yourself. It's not going to happen overnight. Rome wasn't built overnight. Give yourself some grace and just keep going. Don't give up. Don't give up on your dream.
Don't give up on your dream, folks. And sometimes the dream, how you get there may change, but
Mhm.
it's a dream. And so don't ever give up on that. You are worthy of that. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Tonya, for joining us. And thank you for sharing
Awesome.
such wonderful advice with founders around the world on the Start of
You're
Life
so
show.
welcome. My pleasure. My
Uh,
pleasure.
Okay, I'm just going to wrap up real quickly. We learned so much from this phenomenal founder, right? Oh gosh, you've got to click all the links. You've got to go watch that pitch on Dragon's Den. Seriously, if you're raising funds, go check it out. I know you'll be able to add value to your own fundraising experience. I just want to remind everybody, as I always do at the end of every show, please promise me that you'll remember you're braver than you believe, stronger than you seem, and as we say here in Boston, wicked smarter than you think. You've got this. Don't give up. We are cheering wildly for you. And until I see you or you hear me on the next episode, I'm wishing you a delicious day everywhere you glow. Mwahs from Boston. Cheers.